precioso regalo del cielo ha llegado y que me ha colmado de. All right, looks like we're live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Pan Dulce.
Good morning.
What a really sad and depressing song to come into. I don't know. Maybe we have to change. I don't know. What song is this?
I don't know. It just says it's a precious way. I don't know which way because this one's so awful.
Alexa, stop. Well, listen, everyone, thank you for watching Coffee and Pan Dulce. I'm thrown off a little bit because usually we have a more upbeat song on Mariachi Radio to come into. So welcome everyone to Coffee and Pan Dulce, those who are joining us on Facebook Live via Zoom, and also those who will be joining us later on Facebook and also YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Or we don't do Snapchat and all that. What is it, TikTok now? I don't know how many there are. There's so many different ones. Listen, we've got a great show today. We've got some guests of ours, Kelsey and is it Ashley?
Emily
and Kelsey, who are with Humane Society of Charlotte, will be talking to us about Palooza that's gone virtual. It'll be this Saturday. And we may have a guest of ours who is a neighbor here in Charlotte. She is going to be sharing with us about what it's like to be living with COVID-19. She actually has been tested with that and has been in home quarantine. So we'll see if she's up to joining us today as well. So as we usually do on our show, we want to introduce everyone. If you're looking at your screen, I'm not sure what your screen looks like, but I've got several people going this way. So we're going to go with Baby Trump Pinata, and then we'll go with Emily, and then Kelsey, Jenny, Ruth, and then of course our neighbor Barbara Bacon, who needs a new laptop. So let's go with.
She's connected. She just wants us to tell her to say hi. Her computer's having problems again.
Oh, okay. Well, I understand. So let us. Who'd like to start first? I guess we'll go with Emily. Emily,
hey,
introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Emily Cook. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager over at the Humane Society of Charlotte, and I am so happy to be here this morning.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Thank you. And Kelsey?
Hey guys, I am Kelsey. I am the Special Events Manager for the Humane Society of Charlotte. So I am the one making this event go virtual. We're super sad we won't see you guys in person on Saturday, but we are really, really excited to deliver you a virtual event on Saturday. So thank you guys so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Hi, this is Jenny-Jaymes Gunn, and I represent Charlotte Pride and the National Organization of Women Charlotte. And we have some exciting things coming up in May. Actually, two big things. So 2 virtual events, of course, but we'll talk about that more.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. My name is Ruth Perez. I'm a community advocate. And I don't have my buttons today, but as everyone knows, I am Medicare for All. Also, Women's Now. I know it's national, whatever she represents.
National
I back her up.
So, well, I'm Christian Cano. Thank you, one of your co-hosts of Coffee and Pan Dulce with Ruth Perez and Jenny-Jaymes Gunn, and of course, Jeff Scott, who's on hiatus until May the 15th, I believe. And I do want to say with this virtual background going on, it does make your hair look shorter. So I don't know if you can see mine, because this is what my hair normally looks like.
It does.
Yeah, and when you put these virtual backgrounds on, which I'm glad, ladies, thank you for your virtual backgrounds today. I was trying to find one and I found this dog park, and it kind of like trims your hair. So maybe that's a kind of a neat thing to be promoting. So we're going to be talking about the Palooza and all the great things that the Humane Society of Charlotte does. I have both of my little munchkins here in the living room that are walking around. Cody Grady, Big Dummy, was just jumping on my leg, so he may be here on the show very soon. Before we do that, we do want to thank our Pan Dulce sponsor, Manolo's Bakery. Anyone who has their Pan Dulce, this is my concha, if anyone knows. I actually have been home. This is my 39th day of my stay at home for me and for us. And I was making muffins on Monday. I was making cakes. I think we're all doing a lot more cooking. I've seen, Ruth, your Facebook, so you've been doing a lot of cooking.
Gosh, I discovered talents that I didn't know about.
And you start using like ingredients that you're like, I need to use this up. That's fine. And so Manolo's Bakery on Central Avenue, immigrant owned. They are still open for business like most small businesses in Charlotte. They're doing takeout. He has tres leche cakes, tamales, all kinds of wonderful breads, all kinds of wonderful stuff. Manolo's Bakeries, please visit them. If you do have your coffee cup, which I forgot in the kitchen, we need to salute to coffee and bundles. So what does your cup say, Mama Ruth?
It says, be happy, be bright, and be you.
So actually, now I need a cup of coffee. So Jenny, you want to talk a while so we can, and then let's go ahead and introduce our guests and they can tell us what's going on.
Where's your coffee mug?
And I left it in the kitchen.
Where's mine?
Yeah.
I'm at home. I don't drink coffee. I mean, the only time I actually touch the stuff is when I came.
You can just fill it up with mimosa or something.
Oh
yeah, like that.
Well, I normally have this. By my bedside.
That's vodka. I know that's vodka. I know.
Yeah, I know it's a salsa silver, so it's a tequila Wednesday. Actually, every day is tequila day. It's any day that ends in Y. I mean, pretty much. I mean, so it's all good. But yeah,
margarita. I've been buying these bottles from Sam's Club's, a big margarita already mixed. They has alcohol and everything on it. Oh God, those are so good.
A lot of those premixes have gotten pretty good. I mean, they used to be kind of rough. I mean, coming from a bartending background, I mean, some of them tasted so chemicals or really, really sugary sweet to the point to where they were disgusting. But the last few years, they got some good ones.
There's a new beer seltzer flavor, fruit flavors.
Girl, that's been out for like all summer long. There was a shortage on the white one or something.
Yeah.
No, these were like
there was a shortage.
Like 10. These are like seltzer drinks.
Yeah.
They have 5% alcohol.
Yeah.
No idea of those exist.
I'm in the know. I was into those this summer. They're very refreshing. All right, so let's talk about Pet Palooza. Thank you for covering for me while I had to go grab my coffee. Which ladies would like to start? Tell us about Pet Palooza, what's going on this weekend, those people who are involved, if you can still get involved. Who would like to start?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Emily, do you want to kind of give like a brief rundown of the Humane Society of Charlotte in general and what we still have going on even during the COVID-19 pandemic? And then I am happy to jump in with more information about Pet Palooza and how you guys can get involved, because we would love for you guys to be involved.
Yeah, for
Excellent.
sure. So, of course, the Humane Society of Charlotte is actually a 42-year-old organization here in Charlotte. We've been around since '78, and we are a animal shelter focusing on companion animals, so dogs and cats. We follow a no-kill philosophy, which is awesome. But of course, just like everyone else in this environment, we had to kind of shift how we were doing things with COVID-19, but we wanted to make sure that we were still available for the community. We are still, of course, available for the animals that depend on us. So we are considered an essential business, so technically we are still open for adoptions. We've shifted it a little bit to how it looks. Normally, anyone can come in any day, anytime, hang out with the animals, visit them in the kennels, etc. No big deal. Right now, we are actually doing appointments for adoption just to kind of limit exposure and limit the number of people in the shelter. So if you're interested in adopting an animal, you just go to our website, fill out an application, and it's more an appointment tool than necessarily like a traditional application. So we're not doing home visits, we're not doing interviews, none of that jazz. We just want to make sure that we are letting people come in for appointment in the order that they are filling out the applications, because we abide by a first come first serve adoption policy. But yeah, so we've been doing great. Actually, our adoption numbers are a little bit up, and we think that's because people are home, and it's a great time for people to spend time with the animals, work on getting them trained, work on getting them used to their new environment, used to their new humans. And of course, anyone that has to isolate by themselves, no one wants to spend a month by themselves. So it's a great time to bring an animal in, have a little buddy hanging out with you. You've got a little kitty, a little doggy, spend some great time with them. So our adoption numbers are up. Unfortunately, we've had to close our spay and neuter clinic and our critter care clinic for the time being. We're hoping to reopen that soon as it's safe and the county health officials say that we're in the clear. And then, of course, we're still taking donations, whether it's, monetary, whether you want to order from Amazon and have it shipped directly to our door. We're not really taking walk-in donations. Again, we're just trying to keep our staff safe, keep the community safe. But yeah, so we're trying our best to keep going and keep adoptions moving. We're still taking in animals from municipal shelters so we can keep that life-saving cycle going. And we've got all of this information on our website. We have a COVID-19 dedicated webpage so that we can keep people up to date with everything as it's happening. So yeah, so we're still cruising along. It looks a little different than it did a month or two ago, but we're still getting a lot of animals into their forever home. And we have our event's still happening because, like Kelsey said, she has kicked this humongous event over to a virtual event, which is amazing. And so I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Well, let me jump in just a second.
Sure.
For those who live in Charlotte knows that Palooza is considered, I think for most of us, beginning of the festival season. So generally you have St. Patrick's Day parade, and you've got a little kind of slope, and then it's Palooza, and then all the other festivals. And so tell us about Palooza, and thank you for going virtual.
Hey, I love that you consider us like the kickoff to Charlotte Festival season. That's awesome. So like Emily said, we have been around for a really long time serving the Charlotte community, and Palooza has been around a really, really long time too. So this is my second year managing this event. So super bummed that we had to go virtual, but we have a lot of really cool things going on Saturday. And like Emily said, we're operating at a limited capacity, but we are still doing a lot of really, really important work. Our team over at the shelter, they're still caring for animals. The need for animals to come into a facility like ours has not slowed down. Our team is still transferring animals in from other shelters, other municipalities. There's a bunch of different places and a bunch of different needs that our team is still fulfilling, which is fantastic. And one of those really big needs, especially right now, is our pet food bank. So we have a no questions asked pet food bank for anyone who might need it for whatever reason. It's usually a short-term kind of fix for people if they've fallen on some sort of financial hardship. But in this time right now, there's a lot of people facing a financial hardship. So that pet food bank is really, really important to them. A really big principle of ours is that people can keep their pets. We want pets to stay in their homes with their families, with the people that love them and can care for them. Just because you're on a brief financial hardship, that doesn't mean you should have to give up your pet. So we're still trying to do everything that we can to keep pets in homes and keep people and their pets happy, which is fantastic. So Palooza is a big part of that. We have 4 main events throughout the year, but Palooza is our largest by far. So this is our big pet festival and fundraising walk. It brings in about 4,000 people every year. We were going to be at Southside Park this year, which is the park right across the street from our shelter on Toomey Avenue. So right off the Remount Road exit on 77. And we were thinking this is probably going to be our most well-attended Palooza for sure. So we're excited to see how that looks next year when we go back to Southside Park. But for this year, we have switched to a virtual event to keep everyone safe. Obviously, our safety of our staff and our volunteers and our supporters is of the utmost importance. So everything has gone virtual this year. So we have really, really awesome sponsors and vendors that help make this event possible. We have created our festival part. Oh my gosh, look at that cutie.
I'm sorry, go ahead. He wants to hear
no,
about
I
what's
love
going
it.
on.
It's the perfect addition. I love it. I love it. I love it. So like I said, we have really, really awesome sponsors and vendors that help make this event possible and are part of the reason that people are coming to Palooza, because they want to see all these really awesome groups that support the Humane Society of Charlotte. So we have switched to a virtual vendor fair. So you can visit all of those partners on our website. It's petpaloozacharlotte.org. You'll learn everything you need to there. Our virtual vendor village lives on that page. And a lot of our sponsors and vendors are running specials for people that are going to support them through Palooza. So like some of our pet photographers are giving away, a free 30-minute session, which is like unheard of and awesome. Charlotte Metro Credit Union is doing an enter to win for a $50 gift card to Petco. So people are doing a lot of really, really awesome stuff. Super discounting a lot of their things too. So I mean, it's not only a fantastic way to support what we have going on Saturday, but we have so many local small businesses in Charlotte that support us every year with this event. And this is a way to support them as well during this really difficult time. So petpaloozacharlotte.org, our link for our virtual vendor fair is there. And then obviously, if you would like to donate or even participate, we actually had 30 people sign up to walk in the last week, which I was shocked about. So we have over 220 people registered to walk, which is fantastic. We normally have about 400 to 500, maybe even 600 walkers registered. So we're having a virtual event and we have over 220 people. I mean, I'm like floored by that. I'm super excited. Wow. So Charlotte, as always, they support us. This community is amazing and they really, really rally behind us. So when we went virtual, we were a little nervous to see how that was going to go, but we have just seen amazing support. And it's wonderful. I think people really know that what our team does is really important for the community, and we're not just helping pets in the community, but we're helping pet owners in the community. And there's a lot of cool stuff that we have going on. So Saturday, whether you are or aren't walking, we're going to have some different fun things going on our Facebook page. We're going to go live a couple times throughout the day. So we will have our welcome in the morning. We'll show off some of our animals that we have available for adoption. So we'll kind of have like a little virtual adoption fair, which will be fun. We'll be showing off our sponsors and vendors and what they have going on. We'll have a virtual beer garden in the afternoon. We have a Humane education manager on staff, Shelly. She's incredible. So she's going to be doing live story time in the morning with her dogs at home. So we have a bunch of different things going on the day of on our Facebook page too.
Sure. Excellent, Mama Ruth.
I was gonna ask, okay. The first question, I'm a pet lover. I mean, my house has always been full of pets. I have a pug, I have a blue nose right now. I also have Mr. Rex. I don't know if I can get him out yet. If I would have known, I would have him here. He's a leopard gecko. I have 7 hermit crabs. And I've been thinking about getting exotic birds. What kind of pets adoptions do y'all carry besides normal cat and dogs?
Yeah, so we are exclusive to companion animals, which traditionally we're doing the cats and dogs. So we just have those animals at our shelter. But our community partner and one of our biggest supporters, and we do so much with them, is actually CMPD Animal Care and Control. We work very, very closely with them. They're probably one of the municipalities that we transfer the most animals into our shelter. And they have exotic animals. And so they have, I know I've been over and I've toured their facility, of course, several times. And I know they have an exotic room. They have like a rabbit and hamster and gerbil room, however you classify those little guys. And they have, they have snakes and lizards, which I personally stay out of that room, but that's just me and my personal phobias. If you love snakes, go for it. I'm gonna hang out in the hallway. They have an exotic bird room, and it's great because those are animals that, just like our animals, need to be rescued. They have been turned over to the shelter for whatever reason, or they've been found for whatever reason. So they're birds, they're snakes, they're gerbils, they're bunnies that need to be rescued. So definitely would encourage supporting those guys for some of your more exotic animal adoptions. They also do adoptions for dogs and cats, and of course we do too. And yeah, so just come check us out and check them out too.
Now, and we also, not to interrupt you, but bird related, we have companion parrots rehomed as a vendor this year. So if you're looking for a parrot, they would be an awesome place to start. So CMPD, obviously Animal Care and Control, they take anything and everything, and they're fantastic. They do such a wonderful job. And really, if you're looking for it, they might have it. So always keep a lookout on their website. But yes, Companion Parrots Rehomed is a vendor this year, and they are awesome. So check them out too.
Now, do you have to be a member or a resident in Mecklenburg County in order to adopt, or you can be a resident in another county?
You can be a resident from anywhere. We actually, not terribly long ago, I feel like it was someone from out of the country that came to visit, and they were having like I don't know what the word is, but like a brief stint in the country, like 6 months, 18 months, something like that, and they came adopt. So yeah, anyone can adopt from us at any time.
Tourist visa.
Yeah, there you go. anyone can adopt from us at any time. All you have to have is a valid form of ID and valid form of payment, and go through the process with our trained adoption counselors, and good to go.
We actually had someone, Emily, were they with cats when they were performing here? Because we had someone come in from one of the shows at Blumenthal who does not live here. And they came in, and I think they did some volunteer work with us for an hour or two while they were in town for their show. And one of them ended up taking home a cat, which was awesome.
Actually, it was a puppy, which was funny.
Oh, it was a puppy.
I was about to ask, did they adopt a cat or a puppy?
Yeah,
it was a puppy. Someone from Cats adopted a puppy. Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you for the information. I know, Jenny, you have a question you want to ask.
Well, and I think it is important that we, have that companionship. I mean, I know a lot of people in my community, especially that have had trauma and so many, psychological impacts being LGBTQIA. And so it's very therapeutic, and I'm not surprised by the spike in numbers for y'all's adoptions. Were you guys surprised? And what kind of feedback have you gotten from people as they've come in and realized y'all are still open?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you. I'm not terribly surprised. I wasn't surprised at the reasons why people wanted to adopt at all. I was a little surprised at how smoothly it went, just because it was such a new process for us, and just time. But I think the feedback that we're getting from people is kind of the consistent feedback we get all the time, is that they're so thankful for the work that we're doing, and then the animals that we're caring for. These animals are not just hanging out with us in a kennel and it's bare bones. I mean, these animals at the shelter are very much loved by our staff. I mean, you're more likely to find members of our staff like chilling in the dog bed inside the kennel than like doing the paperwork that day, myself included. And you'll just walk by, and then there's someone sitting in the kennel, and you're like, oh, hey, John, what's up? So I mean, these animals are so loved by us, and I mean, we definitely get attached, but we help them find their forever homes anyways, and we know they're going to such amazing places. And I think one thing that is so incredible about the Humane Society of Charlotte is that it's as cliche as it sounds, it's really a family. We don't just adopt an animal to a family and then we're like, hey, see you later, bye. More often than not, these people kind of join our community, so to speak, and we hear from everyone a month later, a year later, 10 years later, whenever that animal maybe crosses the rainbow bridge, and we support them as a family because pets are family members to us. And so I think and they bring them back, and we'll have adopters come and show up, and they've got their animal with them just to come visit the staff members, and everyone comes rushing into the lobby to give the pup the dog kisses they haven't seen in 2 years. And I think it's just a really unique experience to adopt from the Humane Society of Charlotte. But I think that feeling of warmth and community is continued through this COVID-19 crisis, because we're still so committed to helping these animals find their forever homes and helping these families find their forever family member. We're not just here for the animals, we're here for the people that love them too.
One of the things I've noticed, and ladies, y'all can maybe tell me, and Mama Ruth and Barbara, I wish maybe she can type you, Ruth. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm communicating with her.
Okay, excellent. One of the things I've noticed is about 10 years ago, we started to see a difference in kind of what was in. There was a long time where people were, first of all, Charlotte, North Carolina is a very pet-friendly city. I think most people who come here don't just have one dog. They have a dog, cat, guinea pig, all kinds of stuff like I do. And one of the things I noticed that we've seen this shift, and I think the millennials really helped us move this shift. It was the type of breed you had. I have a boxer, I have a whatever the breed was, and it has now shifted to I have a rescue, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I've noticed that now a lot of people take great pride in saying I've got a mutt, or I've got a mixed breed, or this. And that's really a good thing. What I really would hope, and I do think that animal rights groups and groups in general are doing a really good message that not everyone's really meant to be a pet parent. I mean, just like I personally don't believe everyone's meant to be a regular parent. I just think that not everyone's meant to be a pet parent. We have some people on there that get pets, whether it's a dog or cat, that just don't understand the responsibility that comes along with getting a pet, the cost that it takes to have a pet, to feed them. So what are y'all seeing in that? Is that changing where people are? Tell me what you think on that, whoever would like to.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think you're right about people. There's an uptick in people having rescue animals over, specifically bred animals or et cetera. And I think you're right. I think that people, when they come to adopt an animal, an animal is a huge responsibility. And that's something we definitely stress at the Humane Society of Charlotte. We lay it out for them, especially if someone comes to adopt an animal and that animal at our shelter has particular like medical needs or behavioral needs or things like that. That's something, and we support them long after the adoption in those particular cases as well. But yeah, I mean, as someone who has both fur babies and a human baby, it's not, there are some significant unique differences, but the underlying responsibility and the underlying care is not that incredibly different. It's a living creature, it's a living thing that relies on you entirely, and you have to be there to provide that for them. So it's definitely more, it's not just about having an animal and having them in a kennel or on a tether or something like that. We really stress the idea that pets are family members and definitely should be treated as such. We encourage animals to live inside the house, that they are treated with a proper medical care, proper behavioral care, proper mental care for animals, because that's definitely a factor as well. And we believe that anyone can be a good pet owner if they are armed with the knowledge and the support that they need to be that person. And that's what our goal is here, to provide that. Is we believe that we can empower anyone to be a good pet owner if we can provide them with that knowledge and that education and that support. But we also support the people that recognize that maybe that's not the right path for them, and if they just want to come and volunteer with us and pet the animals and then head home, or they want to be a donor for us, we support that too. So anyone can be a pet lover, whether or not they're actually a pet owner is up to them.
And I think it's really important along with that too, that we have a behavior manager on staff, and he is incredible. He has years of really, really incredible knowledge. So anytime someone might have an issue, a lot of times people, maybe it's their first pet and they might be a little bit overwhelmed and they're thinking, this is just too much for me to handle. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not being a good dog mom. I'm kind of at my wit's end, and they are kind of torn between this, like, I want what's best for the animal, and then also like, I'm really confused about what's best for the animal. So Zach is amazing, and he's there for people that, might come to the realization like, oh my gosh, I really need help with this. And if I, can't get this sorted out, this might not be, the best fit for me. So he's an incredible resource that we have on our staff, that our pet surrender numbers have just gone down drastically because of him. So we do have a pet surrender service. So if someone is in a position financially, medically, whatever reason, and they're just like, this is not the best situation for this dog or this cat to stay with me, Zach is going to counsel them through that. And 99% of the time, it's something that he can help them fix at home, which is amazing. So like Emily said, there's a lot of people that think they might not be a really great pet parent, or they might come across something that they're like, oh no, I've kind of hit a roadblock here. But Zach is a really fantastic resource to help people through that, to help keep the pet with their, the family that loves them.
Talking about that, since we're going through the COVID-19 and we've seen a lot of unemployment, we've seen a lot of struggles in the families and stuff, how high has your volume been on rescuing pets, like people not wanting them or just leaving them out there? I guess some of them may be under depression or maybe under severe circumstances that they can't afford to, provide for them and stuff, and they just let them all go or go and drop them off somewhere. Has your volume been higher now that we're going through this pandemic?
So thankfully, we are what we call a managed admissions facility, which means that we function a little differently than your average like municipal shelter, so like animal care and control. So people can't just come and like necessarily drop off an animal at the shelter. But what we do provide for people are the resources they need. Kind of like what Kelsey just said, a lot of people when they bring a new pet in, they get overwhelmed with like, oh, maybe I'm not being the best pet parent. Maybe I need some behavior training. Those same calls come in to Zach and his team to potentially surrender their animal, and whether it's based on financial insecurity, or they've fallen on rough times, or they've been unemployed. We see a lot of that because people truly we see more often than not that people truly want to do what's best for their pet. But that's where we have our resources and a lot of our aid available to the community. And when we get those phone calls, we can reassure them that like just because you're unemployed and maybe you can't afford dog food at this moment does not mean that you have to give up your animal. The best place for your animal is where they're loved with their family. That's the number one best place for them. So if we can provide the resources to help you through this rough time, that's what we're going to do. So that's where our pet food bank comes into play. That's where we have a lot of we have several funds that called like, so for example, we have the Have a Heart Fund, which is for animals that need special medical help. If it's something that, they need a little bit more than your average, veterinary care. We have, a spay it forward fund where people, if they can't afford their spay and neuter surgery, then we can cover that for them, especially if it's required by like their lease or their insurance or something like that. So we have so many resources, and not just within our own facility, but we have so many community partners in Mecklenburg County and North Carolina and really across the country. The animal welfare world is smaller than it seems, and there's a lot of connections. And so typically if someone comes to us for help and their answer is, I'd love to keep my pet, but I have to do right by them, we're going to help them find a way to do right by them, but let them keep their pet, because the place where they're home with their family and their love, that's the best place for them.
Now, do y'all have or have any access or connections to foster parenting? Like maybe people, they might say, hey, I can't handle them right now, but can somebody help me maybe 2-3 weeks while I get back on my feet, instead of giving them away or adopting them?
Yeah, so we do have a really thriving foster program. Now, our foster program is for our shelter animals. So we have probably over 1,000 foster families within our system, if not more. But definitely, several hundred that are active at any one point in time. We typically have about anywhere from like 100 to 200 animals in foster families in the community at any one point in time, and that helps us keep room in our shelter to bring more animals in. So typically we aren't able to take in owned animals from the community and foster them on behalf of people if they're having a hard time. But again, we have so many resources and so many connections and such a large network of people that just want to help that, again, more often than not, we can typically help them find a resource or an answer to take care of any situation that comes up. And a lot of very willing and generous hearts in the community that were willing to help each other out in situations like that.
And I think y'all mentioned that there's an opportunity for donations to help feed pets, that y'all had a pet food bank.
Absolutely.
And so kind of explain that, or how we can donate, and do y'all have links available on your virtual page?
Absolutely. So on our website, we have tons of links available for donations. We always welcome monetary donations because, of course, that allows us to buy the things we need as we need them. But you can also donate dog and cat food straight up. And the easiest, and normally right now, normally you could come by, drop it off. We take food. A lot of times people will message us and say, hey, like I tried a new food for my dog. He didn't like it. Do y'all take bags that are slightly opened? And we're like, sure, no problem. We can break it up into Ziploc bags. And people drop stuff off, people go to the store and buy stuff for us. But because of COVID, we are trying to limit people coming in. So the easiest way right now, if you want to donate actual food or stuff, is to go on our website, and we have our Amazon wish list, and we keep this updated like every single day. And you can donate via Amazon, and Amazon will just deliver it straight to our door, and then we'll put it in our pet food bank, and we'll be able to give it out on Saturdays during our pet food bank. Or right now, actually, we're doing deliveries, contactless deliveries for pet food bank. But yeah, so absolutely, you can definitely give monetarily to our general donation fund, and we divvy that up on the back end, make sure everybody we can purchase the things we need for Pet Food Bank, and then you can donate actual food through Amazon and keep it easy peasy. Plus, you don't have to lug the heavy bag of dog food to the front door, right? We let the delivery guys do that for us. So I know that they're stronger than I am. So
Kristen, you're making me very sentimental seeing that picture there.
Yes, this is
God.
our former boxers who passed away last year within 3 months of each other. That's Mr. Texas there. And that's Miss Dallas.
Oh my goodness.
And interestingly, Dallas was born in Atlanta and Texas was born in Washington, D.C. So they have, and we have a guinea pig named Charlotte, and she was actually born here in Charlotte. One of the things I question about this weekend, because I'm signed up to do the virtual walk, and can't wait to get my T-shirt, and we can't wait to raise as much money as we can. How's that going to work? Are we just going to walk and watch you at the same time? Or do we just walk on? Is it a good faith walk? Do we have to prove that we walked, or?
No, it is totally good faith.
Okay.
So yeah, totally up to you. So we are encouraging people to take their 1 mile walk with their pets or without their pets Saturday morning, but that could mean different things for different people. That could mean you're sitting on your couch watching us on Facebook Live. That could mean you're walking around your neighborhood 6 feet apart from your neighbors. That could mean you're walking around your backyard. I mean, that it is totally up to the people that are participating. I'm sure we'll have some people that will participate in the walk that morning, but really participate in the virtual beer garden later that afternoon. So it is totally up to whatever people would like to do. We're going to encourage them to walk with us when we go live in the morning at 10 a.m. on our Facebook page. But if you don't want to, hey, that's okay.
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to walk.
You can't go walking at 10 a.m. in the morning on Saturday. I ain't doing the show by myself.
Oh, I forgot we have a show on Saturday.
Exactly. You can walk Friday. You can walk in the afternoon, whatever you want to do.
Hey, Christian, you can walk your dogs and do your show.
I'm gonna have to have one of those. Would it be a version of our Two Queers and Mama Ruth show that we want to do? Is that gonna be?
Oh yeah, we were gonna do Two Queers in a truck, and we were gonna go driving around Charlotte, doing different areas of interest, and so I was going to be pretty fun, but of course COVID happened, and
exactly. Darn that invisible bug. Listen, one of the reasons I think I know myself, and I'm sure a lot of people, one of the reasons that we try to support as much as we can pet organizations and dogs, because of the value they bring to our lives. It's so immeasurable. And we had on our show a individual once that was really trying to help us change the laws in North Carolina. And maybe you can speak to this, where we would have the no-kill shelter type of thing. And they were trying to promote some, I think Governor McCrory's wife, when he was governor, his wife was very involved in trying to push for a lot of pet-friendly laws in the legislature. And unfortunately, a lot of the representatives in the rural areas were fighting against it. And one of the things that we know, and Jenny, I think we've talked about this before, that the young people, specifically young males, who are abusive to animals at a younger age, I think, is there data or statistics that say that they tend to become serial killers. And I'm not sure where I was going with this question, but so do we have a program to help young people, especially young males, get involved with pets, and maybe to help foster pets, or maybe we can adopt or like do like a Big Brother thing for a young person to come and see pets, and see what value they bring to your life? That's probably a really deep question.
No, I mean, it's definitely something that's on our radar. I mean, I can't speak specifically to that data you mentioned.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it is something.
I saw it on the internet.
But
it's got to be true.
Where's Dr. B at?
But yeah, no, we do have programs definitely geared towards children, because and that's our Humane education that's led by Shelly Lytle. She's actually a former 6th grade teacher with the CMS program. or sorry, CMS school district, excuse me. And she's amazing. And what our goal is really is to provide that humane education that is a natural fit with little kids, and what it does is that kids, and when kids and pets get together, these natural behavior characteristics just come flying out. It's compassion and empathy and responsibility. And, when kids learn that at an early age in regards to, being with a pet, it sticks with them. We see that, it sticks with them for life. And that's kind of what our goal is just to help kids learn in the community about, that empathy, that compassion for animals, that love for animals. And over time, we hope that educational resource will help, continue to grow the compassion that people feel for animal welfare and change, overall, statistics. I think in the last 30 years, especially, that the face of animal welfare has changed drastically. And someone that can speak really, really accurately, and intelligently to that is actually our CEO and president, Shelley Moore. She started her career in the early 80s as an animal control officer in the Baltimore area. And then going from that really to being, the president and CEO of a Humane Society here in Charlotte, she said that, the climate of animal welfare and how people feel about animals and treat animals in that last 30, 40 years is just, it's just such an incredible drastic difference. And there's so many factors that go into that. But yeah, so, our humane education, that's exactly what it's geared toward. And so we're, in an ideal world, when life gets back to normal, we are planning on partnering with CMS and different kids groups.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Oh. What on earth is that a snake?
No, he's my Geico. He's my his name is Rex.
Oh my
Rex.
gosh, she's so cute.
Well, go ahead, Emily. I'm sorry.
But yeah,
Sorry, Emily.
You're fine. Our goal is to get in, with different school systems, with scout groups and Cubs groups and homeschooled organizations and anything that involves children, and just, and provide that resource and that education for them of, how to care for animals, how to be responsible for animals, and how to love animals.
That sounds like a wonderful program, and I'd really like to do what I can to help promote that, because I really believe that if we get, as you mentioned, children involved with animals and pets are those hermit crabs? Oh, at a younger age, I do think that anyway, that's great. Let me tell you, I know within our
Are we doing anything about when you mentioned something about kids, or not kids, but I mean change some laws? It seems like it's easier for sometimes animal control just to put some pets to sleep when they've been for so long and nobody has adopted them and they don't have enough room. That's my understanding. I might be wrong. Please educate me on that. But I mean, is there any way we can start changing those kind of laws? Because, every single animal deserves also to be alive. Just because nobody wants to adopt them or doesn't, spending so much time in that facility doesn't mean that they don't deserve an opportunity.
Let me jump in real fast, and Emily, you can answer that question. One of the things, Ruth, I know you and I have talked about this, is there's several things that we know that we need to do at the state and the federal level, North Carolina, and also at the federal level. We need to change the outdated laws that still considered, I think, domestic pets, which I consider my kids, from property to actual pets. Because horses in the United States and a lot of states like North Carolina and in Texas, they're between a human and property. So if you kill a horse in Texas, or if you steal a horse, technically you can still be hanged on the books in Texas. Yeah. If you steal a horse in North Carolina, it's a more severe punishment than property because of the value that horses played to people back when we didn't have cars. Well, dogs and cats or domestic animals are still considered property. So even though we do have a lot of animal abuse laws, you can't get punitive damages when someone does something to your dog or your cat. You can only get the value of your dog. So somehow we need to change that protection of those dogs. Secondly, I do think that we also need to change how we regulate dog food. Dog food is still regulated under horse laws. So when you say you have a natural food, the grade of the food is completely different than the human grade of a food. And so I do think that, and I hope millennials will change this because I have so much faith in our millennials, that they can help us talk with legislators at the state level and the federal level to get those laws changed. Of course, the argument between other people is, well, then how far do you go? Is a chicken now going to be, protected the same way? So I just want to throw that in. Emily, please help us answer these questions that she asked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's so much that goes into this conversation and these different ideas. But I think overall, like you said, that currently in the state of North Carolina, the animals are considered property. Not necessarily how most people feel about them, but for the sake of legality, an animal in terms of legal jargon is no different than anything else you own. So like a car or a chair, etc. And I think that the way that most people feel about their animals does not reflect that. And so I think, that's an ongoing battle for sure with local governments, state governments, eventually maybe federal governments on changing that. I'm not really sure where that argument is coming into play. I know there have been some recent federal laws passed, and I wish I could speak more intelligently to them, but of course I can't remember exactly what they are at the moment.
There's the one that passed, I think, in the fall about the online the torture.
Yes.
There was a loophole. Yeah.
There's that one, and then there's another one that has recently passed that makes I think in general makes animal abuse a more severe.
Yes.
Before it was a misdemeanor. Now
that's what the Trump did. That's the only thing that he's done good for me.
Yeah, so that's now a federal offense, which is amazing. Yeah. That's going in the right direction. But yeah, I think that it's just a tough argument, and I think the hardest part is that because most governments are done statewide in regards to animal welfare, and that when you in different parts of the country, it just varies so much. And I think you're right, based on need, horses may be more necessary to daily life in the state of Texas than maybe in the state of New York, and so I think that there's definitely some conversation and debate on that. But in general, I think that as a whole, we're moving towards recognizing that animals are so much more important to our life than just as a necessity. And I think that that's really reflected in some of the changes that you see in the municipal shelters. And I can't really speak to every municipal shelter in the country, or really even every municipal shelter in the state, but I can speak to our partners over at CMPD Animal Care and Control. And, I think they get a bad rap because in years past, they were known as the quote pound. But really they are so focused on the same philosophy that we believe in, which is that no-kill philosophy, which means that we believe that every animal that comes to us that is medically sound and behaviorally sound should not be subjected to euthanasia. There are very severe and extraneous circumstances to that. If we see an animal medically just absolutely suffering, we're not going to prolong their life and continue their suffering. And in the same instance, if we see an animal that is just so incredibly behaviorally extreme, what we know as animal welfare professionals is that extreme behavior problems in animals is not just a behavior thing, it's a mental thing. And so when they have extreme behavior, they're actually suffering mentally. But rest assured, there are many months and many days and many resources that go into those awful and terrible decisions that thankfully we very, very rarely ever have to make. We thankfully have a 99.9% live release rate at Humane Charlotte. And CMPD Animal Care and Control is working towards that goal as well. They have recently actually changed a lot.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow.
CMPD has actually recently changed a lot of their ruling as well on euthanasia and things like that. They don't have that. I think there's a lot of misconception on the 3-day rule. And in reality, the 3-day rule, it exists, but it's not what people think it is. So when an animal comes into the CMPD municipal shelter, they actually have 3 days to be claimed by their owner. After those 3 days, they then are available for adoption to the public. So I think a lot of people are under the misconception that after 3 days they're euthanized, but in reality, that 3 days is a window for their owners to come find them in case they've gotten loose and they don't know where they are. And after those 3 days, then they're available for adoption to the public to go to a new home. So I think that's a huge misconception, at least in Charlotte. And they are just absolutely advocating and working towards that same high live release rate. I think over the last several months, they've taken it higher and higher and higher. Now they're at about, I think it's about 80%, right, Kelsey, of live release rate, which is huge for a municipal shelter. You know, most municipal shelters are 50% or less.
Well, let me tell you, we never talk about politics on this show, but that's a joke. But I can tell you, there's only two things that I know of that bring people together, regardless of Democratic, Libertarian, Independent, the Constitution, Green Party. Pets
I
bring
like
us
the
together.
word unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated, that's right. Unaffiliated. Pets bring us all together. When you go to when I went to my first Palooza, I was standing next to Republicans. We were all had a wonderful time in sports. Those are the two things I think that bring us. The only suggestion I have for Republican pet owners is I wish we treated humans as good as you treated your pets.
Yeah.
So that's my little plug. As a first generation indoor pet owner, because I grew up with dogs, but they were kept outside, and they're just dogs. And they lived, 14, 15 years old, and we fed them whatever was left over, which now I'm almost incredibly embarrassed to admit that. Well, so I guess technically I'm a first generation indoor kind of, this is my kid kind of individual, which has added so much value to my life. Charlotte is one of the youngest cities, not youngest city, Charlotte has one of the youngest Latinx communities in the country, where most people here, unless you've moved here from another state, you're either first or second generation Latino, whereas in Texas, you're fifth, sixth generation, California, 10, the border crossed you, or you didn't cross the border. With our Latinx community, pet ownership is, in Charlotte, it's probably, I would think, because of how young our community is, more of a newer type of concept. Do we have, is there some type of Spanish speaking information to people who want to have pets?
Or introduce that
Yes.
Pet Palooza to the Latino community, get them involved, because yes, you're right, Christian. We were used to, like, my mother thinks that I shouldn't keep my dogs inside the house.
Exactly.
Be outside, and I'm like, no, it's a pug. Can't have them outside. Yeah. But that's their mentality, because it's just a guard dogs.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's so much is changing with the younger generations, with the millennial generations and Generation Z that's coming behind us, and et cetera. But, I think, we definitely provide, sorry, my dog is sitting here trying to lick my face. I'm like, wait, Mommy's doing an interview.
Exactly.
I think he wants you to raise her and show it to us.
Yes, let's see. Who's this?
Hi, Leia.
Oh,
I'll take away Mom.
look at that face. Look at those ears.
This is my Jack Russell and something I don't know, baby.
Wow.
That I received 5. Yeah, thank you. And she likes to sleep beside me all day long until I'm on the phone or doing an interview, and then at that moment, exactly, we need faith.
Exactly.
Yes.
But yeah, so one thing, we always have people that speak Spanish and can translate at our shelter. We do a lot of our written materials and printed materials in Spanish translation. I actually just did one last week that was like a COVID-19 toolkit, like how to prepare in case you get sick, on how to care for your pet, and we had a Spanish translation version of that. And I think that what we're just seeing is that, it doesn't matter someone's nationality, it doesn't matter someone's native language or any of their affiliations or orientations, is that pet love and love of your pets is completely transcendent of all of that. And one of my favorite stories ever, since coming to the Humane Society of Charlotte, I think so many people, especially when there's a language barrier, don't understand, and with older generations don't understand that, like, if we come and we're offering to help spay and neuter your pet to keep them healthy, that they're scared we're going to keep them and not give them back, and that's definitely not the case. But one of my favorite stories ever was, we had at our spay neuter clinic this very, very large, I mean, like 6'4", 6'5", just like could have been a linebacker if he wanted to, man came in with this tiny little like mini poodle to have his animal spayed and neutered. And when we took the animal back for surgery, he just boo-hooed the front.
Oh.
The front lawn. He thought we were not. There was a language barrier. He was a native Spanish speaker.
Yeah.
And he thought that we were not going to give his poodle back to him.
Oh.
We're like, no, we were
Oh,
definitely
baby.
going to give her back to you.
Look,
You're fine. Give her like 4 hours to wake up. It's gonna be fine. But we had to console this just giant, just someone on the street. You'd be like, oh, he's a tough guy, for sure. No, just absolutely. And I was just like, it was such a visual representation that the love of pets is just so transcendent.
Let me tell you.
Provide any information prior to a procedure or something, so people can get used to or get to know what's going on?
Oh, we definitely do. Absolutely. We provide them with like a little packet that explains exactly what we're doing, exactly how to take care of them, their pain medicine that we provide them, like the cone of shame that we give them. And but I think some people, it's just that natural worry, and we will reassure them that nope, this is your baby. We're gonna give them back. We're just trying to make them healthy for you.
Well, Emily, we're about to run out of time here, so we need to wind down. But listen, this has been great information. I do hope I'm not sure when this is going to end and when festival season is going to start again. I know St. Patrick's Day has to be remade up. I know Pride is not sure what's going on with that. All of the festivals that the Cinco de Mayo festival, I don't know if that's still going to happen or if that's going to go virtual. But I do hope the Humane Society will consider having booths at some of these Spanish festivals, because I do think that there is an opportunity here to educate our Latinx community and our immigrant community about responsible pet ownership, about so many of those things, spay and neutering, those type of things. And that's what I can tell you. What you feed your dog makes a huge difference, and the medical care and the health of your dog. When we switched over to more natural foods, not the wheat, the soy, the corn, that they can't digest because it just goes through them. The dogs poop less. They shed less if they're a dog that sheds. They're healthier. The teeth is cleaner. And some of that food now, like Merrick, which I know was bought out by Purina, but Merrick at a time, man, they had some really good food. And I think Merrick, their canned foods, they had like Mama's pot pie. And oh my gosh, it was like, this is the best. I mean, it was some really, I think Canin or Rural Canin is more of a medical one. But anyway, so there's some really.
You're telling me that I can't cook no rice and chicken for my dog?
Actually, that's, I'm not a vet, but
that's very nice of you.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I don't.
I know, right?
Or anything, but I do buy them. I do feed them.
I do. Yeah.
Just without ingredients or anything.
Yeah.
Just natural.
Yeah. No, I think actually that's what vets suggest. If sometimes your dog gets sick, is to just boil some rice and chicken.
When he gets sick, I blend a whole head of garlic and water and give it to them, and it's good for them.
Is that like aloe vera and 7-Up?
Something like that, yeah.
Is that your family's? Well, listen, this has been a great conversation, and obviously Rachel was not able to join us today, and we're going to go around and tell us where you're going to be this weekend. Of course, I know where Humane Society ladies are going to be.
But I see 2 Kelseys.
Yes, that's why we were a little confused. One is actually Emily.
I'm Kelsey. I'm the real Kelsey.
Kelsey's on there. And so tell us where you're going to be. Listen, as I was eating my pandusi, I realized in many families, especially in my family, we have this great debate. Do you use a paper towel or do you use a napkin?
Ooh.
I use a paper towel.
I use my hand.
My other half uses napkins. Did you
Barbara
have this
said
conversation before?
napkin.
Okay, I think it's a white thing, but I'm just saying, no.
Are you talking about when you're eating or eating? When you're eating. Okay. So
Eating.
I am a napkin person. I grew up as a napkin person.
Okay.
But my husband loves wasting the paper towels. I don't get it. I told him, I was like, we are going to run out of paper towels if you don't stop doing this.
Yes.
That's why you get the little tearaway ones, the little breakaway ones.
That's what I get, because my whole family is paper towels.
Yes, I'm a paper towel, but when I have family over, my other half was like, get the napkins out. I'm like, what? What's going on?
It is a white thing.
I don't know. I'm just saying. So tell us where you're
Hey,
going to be.
before we
Go ahead.
leave, let me
Yes.
shout out to everyone that got connected on Facebook Live. We have Kyle Kirby. Thank you, Kyle, for connecting. We have
Running for state office, by the way.
delegate. Yep.
That's right.
We got Mr. Philip Cano all the way to Texas. Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
We had Rigo, my brother-in-law, down in Chicago. Thank you for joining us. Martita Vega here in Charlotte. Thank you. Good morning. And a lot more. I can't see their comments, but I'm glad y'all connected. Thank y'all for joining us.
Excellent. So let's go ahead and tell us where you're going to be. If you're brave enough to tell us what you're wearing underneath the screen, you're welcome to do that as well. And we will start with Emily, Jenny, Kelsey. It must say Kelsey. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. Kelsey?
Kelsey.
Is that right? Kelsey,
Yes.
and Mama Ruth, and then we will end with music. So Emily,
So
tell
this
us where you're
weekend-
going to be.
Yep, this weekend you'll find me and Kelsey both with a few of our other staff members at the Humane Society. We're going to be participating in the walk. We're going to be going on Facebook Live. And what was the other thing? What we're wearing on the screen? I'm wearing pajama pants. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm not.
Well,
Jenny?
y'all don't forget it's Earth Day. That's why I wore my green vinyl dress.
Yes.
You know, let's light it up. It's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. And sustainability is so important, not just for our pet population, but for our human population. Kindness and compassion is always needed. Second thing is that I will be at, Barely Funny this weekend, Friday. She has another event Friday night. You can find her on Facebook. It's a woman-owned business. She is trying to keep live comedy alive in a virtual world. Her shows are fabulous, and has two great comics Friday night. And it's $10 per household. So that means whether you got one or, like Mama Ruth, 10 people living in the house, it's the same price. So y'all tune in. They're amazing. And of course, I'll be on the show Saturday morning.
That's the old drive-through thing where you put like 10 people in the trunk and you go in the drive-through and you pay for one car. All
exactly.
Right. Yeah. Kelsey.
So I, like Emily, will be at the shelter putting on our Pet Palooza Rerouted virtual edition. So join us on Facebook. We are at Humane Charlotte on all platforms. We have a lot of fun things going on leading up to Saturday. So check us out. I am also, like Emily, I have like the stay-at-home like mullet thing. So it's like business at the top and then your party at the bottom. So I have my leggings on, which are pretty much my everyday attire now.
Ruth, go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, Lord. I decided to dress up today. I ain't going nowhere, but I guess I decided to dress up. I'll be here on Saturday. Let me see. Barbara's saying I'm taking an online class for Windows 7 to get ready for my new laptop.
Excellent.
I will join the show on Saturday too. I have a yoga pants on.
Excellent.
All right, Barbara. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I don't actually I have my little top. I do have leggings, but I do have shoes today. I have shoes today.
Well, thank everyone for joining us on Facebook and also on YouTube, who's going to be joining us later on, and on Facebook as well. I want to thank all those of us who are the sneaky peeks, is what I call them, that watch us on the back cameras. Camera one last week was
Show them your boxers.
Yeah, camera one was 3,000 viewers, which is right up there. The week before it was 4,000 viewers. I don't know why they're watching. I think it's because of my shorts. And my socks. So that's the only thing I can think of. But I'm borrowing my cousin from Texas. This is actually
I like that new hairstyle.
This is actually her hairdo, and this is not her. This is not hers, but her hair looks like this. And so when we have our family Zoom meetings on Sunday, I wear this, and people confuse her together. So I do want to say that I can't wait that we can donate. I have a lot of toys that I like to donate to the Humane Society. Also, we back up into our neighborhood country club, and I've got probably 2 buckets of tennis balls that have come over the fence that I'm keeping. So
Nice.
I'd love to donate them to you guys as soon as I can. I also have a bunch of toys that I've never used for these dogs,
Aw.
even my Star Wars toys and everything. for people, and a lot of Kong toys as well. So whatever we can, I'd like to make the donation as well. And I will be participating in the walk on Saturday. It'll be after our show. Of course, we're here to support the Humane Society. Go on and donate
we put their website on our comments or on coffee.
Yes, ma'am.
You can share it.
I will do that. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. Please be safe out there. We've talked about this. I know people are being very creative with the hair. I'm just going up with my hair. And as I mentioned with Dr. B, Dr. George Brumfalk, who's retired neurosurgeon, him and I have agreed that the longer your hair gets, the more you realize that your hair is receding, because you
need hair color.
Well, I'd like some more gray, but you know what? All right, so we're going to end. If you're on the panel, stay on, and we're going to turn off YouTube. Facebook Live is what we're on today. So Alexa, play Pandora.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So much.
Thank you. All right, Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. I don't know why I get the most depressing music today. I hope that's not a sign. Thank you, ladies. I'm going to stop the recording here. Right, that should have stopped. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
I see your back.
Thank you.
Camera in the back.
Oh, do you? Thank y'all for joining us. So let me just understand. So you'll be Facebook, it'll be live on Facebook on Saturday starting at 10?
Yes.
Okay, then Mama Ruth, maybe we can be like watching that, you know, while we're doing our show on Saturday. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah. But thank you so much for joining.
I mean, I'll get to watch it myself.
Yeah. I've got my other computer. I think I'll do Saturdays from the office, so I'll have all the computers on. Well, thank y'all, ladies. If you want to come back on and talk about whatever you're, you know, please don't hesitate to come back on. You know, we're all pretty big pet lovers here, and I guess that's all I have to say.
I think that
Jenny,
would be a great idea if we can bring them back and kind of at least once a week or at least once a month, if they can compromise and have like tips what to do with your new adopted parent, and what are, you know, what can you do, do's and wrongs and stuff like that, how to motivate others also to keep their dogs or their pets. Like I've had almost a zoo in my house once. I had chinchilla, I had parrots, I had everything, but I had to get rid of them.
Well, I wish we had some data on, you know, Latinos and pets or whatever. I'm not. All we can do is
how to overcome a 2 months lost pet.
Oh, you can't. I was going to say on the show.
In front of your house. I mean, it's.
Oh yeah, yours.
I look through my window and I still think about my baby.
Well, if anyone wants to really be impacted, you know, I've had the unfortunate or fortunate enough to be there when they put both of our boxers to sleep. But if you watch the Tim Tebow YouTube video when he's putting his dog to sleep, I think it was in December or January, that was the most touching. You know, he's a pretty tough guy, Tim Tebow, and they were recording him and he just started bawling. And I was like, oh my God, it's so hard to watch that, because he's exactly what all of us, you go and trying to be tough. And it's so difficult, but you know. But
it is harder when it's harder when you're not planning to put your dog to sleep and you have someone just run over your dog. You know, it's very, very hard. It's bitter. It's I don't know what to think anymore.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to disconnect us. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Please come on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a safe day. We'll see you on Saturday. Let me end this.